Tom Cruise used to be the best actor in Hollywood. A flawless grin, a perfect face, and a wonderful life. But something started shifting. Fans noted that his face seemed enlarged and stretched during a Super Bowl commercial in February 2025. In a movie trailer only a few minutes before, he seemed normal. A plastic surgeon noted that too many fillers had entirely ruined the shape of his jaw. A British host then made a harsh analogy in July. He commented that Tom's face looked like Play-Doh now. So, what happened to the man whom millions of people loved? On July 3, 1962, Tom Cruise was born in Syracuse, New York. But from the start, his existence was full of terror and things that were always changing. Thomas Mapother III, his father, was an electrical engineer with a bad temper. He would often get angry for no reason. Tom once labeled him a merchant of chaos. He wasn't simply ranting, he was being mean. They never stayed in one area for too long. Tom had already been to 15 different schools by the time he was 14. He went to Canada 1 month and then to Kentucky or New Jersey the following. He had to leave every time he made a new acquaintance. He was always on edge because of that kind of life. He never felt safe, but it did teach him how to adjust quickly, which would benefit him in Hollywood later. His teachers recognized in 1969, when he was just 7, that he couldn't read well. They said he was smart, but something was off. They did several tests and discovered out he had really bad dyslexia. Tom saw letters move about on the page. They moved around and didn't make any sense. Kids at school called him names. Some teachers grew frustrated with him. But Tom didn't give up, he discovered another method. He began to learn by listening. He would have people read scripts to him over and over. That's how he learned every word by heart. Not only his lines, but everyone else's as well. What began off as a tough battle turned into one of his best traits. Mary Lee, Tom's mother, ultimately made a daring choice in 1974, when Tom was 12. She got away from her abusive husband. She took the kids and left with nearly nothing. All of a sudden, she was a single mother with 4 kids and no money or job skills. She worked all the time, cleaning houses, waitressing, and doing anything else she could. She worked 16 hours a day at times. They went from place to place, always pursuing less rent. Tom knew he had to help when he saw his mother having a hard time. He mowed lawns, delivered newspapers, anything for a few dollars. He gave his mom every penny. He learned the value of hard effort and how much he wanted to be in charge of his own future during that time. When he was 14 in 1976, something unexpected happened. Tom told his family that he wanted to be a priest. He enrolled in a Catholic seminary in Ohio and stuck to the rigid timetable. Prayers in the morning, Latin classes, and religious ceremonies. Teachers thought he was serious and dedicated. But it didn't last long. Tom and some other guys broke into the wine cellar one night and drank the wine that was meant for communion. They got caught, and Tom was kicked out. Later, he remarked that the event made him understand that life wasn't for him. He wasn't supposed to follow the rules. He was supposed to do something. Tom's life started to become better in 1978. Jack South, a paint salesman, was Tom's mother's husband. He was nice to Tom. They went to Glen Ridge, New Jersey. Tom finally had a solid family, a stable school, and someone who cared about him. He tried out for the wrestling team, but a knee injury put an end to that goal. His drama instructor urged him to try out for the school play one day. Tom played the main character in Guys and Dolls. All of a sudden, something made sense. He felt alive on stage. He put in all of his effort. Not only memorizing his lines, but also everyone else's. The crowd loved him. He then acted in more plays and earned the school's drama award. Everything changed during those 18 months in New Jersey. Acting was more than just a hobby. He made it his new goal. Tom made a choice that shook his whole family in 1980, just before he graduated from high school. He left school and traveled to New York City to pursue acting. He had a bag of clothes and $500. He lived in a cheap hostel close to Times Square and then moved into an apartment in Hell's Kitchen that was full with rats. He paid $230 a month in rent and worked as a busboy to make ends meet. He lost 20 pounds in the first 3 months by eating cheap pizza and quick noodles. He tried out for a soap opera but was turned down because he was too intense. That comment really hurt him. He changed his name from Thomas Mapother IV to Tom Cruise because he thought it would seem stronger and be easier to remember. He earned his first movie appearance in 1981. It was only a few seconds long in the movie Endless Love. He lit a fire in one scene and got $500 for it. That was it. But there was something about his intensity that stuck out. People saw him. The fire he started in that scenario wasn't just a movie. It was the start of something big. He tried out for The Outsiders in 1983. He was trying out for the part of Soda Pop, but during the audition, he paused and remarked, "This isn't working for me." Everyone was startled, including Rob Lowe. But that moment revealed how well Tom knew his own limits. He didn't force it, he took a lower role instead. And that little part made him stand out even more. Risky Business came out that same year. It cost only $6.2 million to make, but it made more than $63 million. The iconic dance in his underpants made him famous. People who didn't like it loved it. Tom also garnered his first nomination for a Golden Globe. That year, he made all the proper choices. Shot in Pennsylvania, where it was frigid. He didn't grumble about the bad weather, even though it was hard on him. He put everything he had into the part, which showed that he was willing to suffer for it to be real. That way of thinking would later make him famous for doing his own stunts. He worked on Legend, directed by Ridley Scott, in 1985. Even though Tom didn't wear a lot of heavy prosthetics, the makeup process was hard. He worked closely with a team that was in charge of the biggest makeup job of its time. Tim Curry, his co-star, reportedly got so mad that he took off his own prosthetics and hurt himself. This taught Tom how hard major productions might be, and he was ready for it. Then, in 1986, Tom teamed with Paul Newman and filmmaker Martin Scorsese on The Color of Money. Tom portrayed a young pool hustler and worked hard to make it look real. Newman won an Oscar, but Cruise showed that he could stand up to legends. In that same year, Top Gun became a huge hit. Tom flew in real F-14 planes that went up to 800 miles per hour. The G-forces made him black out. He flew for more than 40 hours, and the Navy even amended its rules for him. The movie made $356 million and made Tom Cruise a household figure throughout the world. He was the highest paid actor under 25, making $2 million for each movie. He was in Cocktail in 1988, which made $171 million. Tom mastered genuine bartender skills, rehearsed for months, and smashed 47 bottles while he was training. That same year, Rain Man came out. After learning that his real father had left him when he was 12, Tom made up a major scene. Dustin Hoffman was impressed by his acting, and the movie won 4 Oscars. Tom agreed to an agreement that let him keep some of the money. He made $15 million in the end. In 1989, Tom pushed himself even more in Born on the 4th of July. He spent months in a wheelchair, lost 35 pounds, and talked to dozens of Vietnam veterans to learn about their anguish. He even injured his hand while filming and kept acting with actual blood showing. He gave $3 million of his pay to non-profits that help veterans. He started his own production firm with Paula Wagner that same year. He put up $2 million and started making Days of Thunder. He changed screenplays, picked actors, and pushed for real effects. They even spent millions to capture authentic NASCAR collisions. His company made $50 million in studio deals in only 1 year. But Born on the 4th of July also got a lot of bad press. A lot of veterans were angry about the movie because Cruise had never served. Some people even threw things at the stage. Cruise got threats of death. Even though things were tense, he held true to his word. The movie made $161 million and changed how people thought about Vietnam veterans. Cruise later set up a $500,000 scholarship fund for veterans with disabilities. In Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise didn't only pretend to be a race car driver. He really did become one. In 1990, during filming, he trained with real NASCAR drivers, got behind the wheel, and raced at speeds of exceeding 180 miles per hour. He crashed the automobile in one scenario because he had cue cards pinned to the window to help him remember his lines. He made himself learn how to drive stock cars with 700 horsepower on famous tracks like Daytona and Charlotte. That year, he also met Nicole Kidman on the set. In the movie, she was a doctor. During the filming, they fell in love and got married on Christmas Eve in 1990. Only a few months after they finished filming. 2 years later, he played a military lawyer in A Few Good Men. It wasn't simple to get that courtroom scene where Jack Nicholson yells, "You can't handle the truth." The director shot it 95 times. Cruise had to keep asking the same tough questions again and over, like, "Did you order the code red?" Until everything felt real. The movie did really well. That one sequence made more than $236 million, which is a lot of money. People were astonished that Cruise was playing Lestat when Interview with the Vampire came out in 1994. At first, the author of the book despised the concept and thought he could never be her Lestat. But Cruise didn't hold back. He spent months learning how to move like a predator. They even bit on real rats while they were filming. They also utilized fake rats with tubes inside them to make it look authentic. Most of the movie was shot at night, and the actors had to wear heavy makeup and costumes for long periods of time. The author altered her view in the end and stated that Cruise's portrayal was strong and brave. Mission revolutionized action movies forever in 1996. Not possible. He wouldn't pretend to do the stunts. One of the craziest images had him hanging from the side of a train that was going through the Channel Tunnel at 70 miles per hour. He was really there. No double. No trickery. He also hung from wires for the famed vault scene, which took place in one long shot that lasted more than 6 minutes. The movie cost $80 million, but most of that money went to the real stunts and not the computer-generated effects. In Jerry Maguire, which came out that same year, he displayed a different side of himself. In early 1997, he received the Golden Globe for Best Actor. The line "Show me the money" wasn't even in the script like that. Cruise thought of the idea to shout it over and over, and it quickly became a catchphrase all over the country. Cruise worked on Eyes Wide Shut with filmmaker Stanley Kubrick for 15 months straight, from late 1996 until mid-1998. That shoot went on for the longest time in cinematic history. Kubrick made them film the same scene 95 times. Cruise grew so anxious that he had an ulcer, but he didn't tell anyone since he didn't want to slow things down. Filming the movie pushed Cruise and Nicole Kidman to their limits as they acted out very emotional passages. Kubrick passed away only 6 days after filming ended. The movie was his last chance to say goodbye to the world. In 2000, things got even crazier in Mission Impossible 2. He climbed rocks on a cliff in Utah that was 2,000 feet high and very risky. He leaped down 15 feet onto a hard rock over and over again, until it looked exactly right. The spinning blades of a chopper came so close that they almost hit his skull. The crew had to halt filming at times due to severe winds, but Cruise insisted on keeping the scene. Cruise entered a weird planet in Vanilla Sky in 2001. He called the filmmaker Cameron Crowe to advise him to view it because it was a remake of a Spanish movie. He even got Penelope Cruz to play the same part she played in the first movie. Cruise donned fake facial parts for the sequences that came after his character's vehicle tragedy. Even while not everyone appreciated the movie initially, it made more than $200 million and slowly built itself a cult following. The Last Samurai trained for over 2 years before the movie came out in 2003. He learned how to fight with a sword, speak Japanese, and do martial arts. He worked closely with a sword master and did most of the battle scenes on horseback personally. The story is based on a real French commander who fought with the samurai in the 1800s. The movie was the 6th most popular movie of 2003, making $456 million. Cruise even got a Golden Globe nomination. Cruise plays a calm, cold-blooded killer named Vincent in the 2004 movie Collateral. He looked nothing like the Cruise we usually see. He had silver hair and wore a gray suit. He makes a taxi driver take him around Los Angeles all night long. Cruise turned into a scary, emotionless person. People were amazed by how different he appeared and acted. In 2005, War of the Worlds came out. Cruise was a dad who was trying to save his kids from aliens. They bought a Real Boeing 747 and converted it into a disaster for one of the sequences. 5 states were used for filming, which took 73 days. He said it was the longest shot he had done in over 10 years. Cruise even urged Spielberg to stop working on another movie so they could finish this one first. In the 2008 movie Tropic Thunder, Cruise shocked everyone. No one knew he was there. He played a loud, bald, and overweight movie executive and danced like a crazy person. Cruise came up with the character himself. He wanted to dance and requested for fat hands. The studio didn't even put him in the trailers. People couldn't believe it when they saw it was him. It proved that Cruise wasn't scared to take chances or look ridiculous. Cruise ascended the Burj Khalifa in Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol in 2011. He was more than 2,000 feet above the ground. To put up safety gear, they had to drill holes in the building and break windows. His harness was so tight that it caused his legs go numb. Because of flight constraints, helicopters could only film for 30 minutes. They employed special IMAX cameras. He wouldn't do a stunt double, as usual. Cruise drove all the cars in the 2012 movie Jack Reacher via real Pittsburgh streets. He practiced for months and learned how to fight with his hands. The movie's release was pushed back since it started with a sniper attack, which happened after the Sandy Hook shooting. But when it eventually came out in December 2012, Cruise's tough military investigator seemed real and honest. Then, in 2015, Rogue Nation did the most perilous flight stunt. Cruise held on to a real Airbus A400M as it lifted off. He was hit with 5 G-forces as he was 5,000 feet in the air. The crew just had 2 days to get things right, and the plane had to fly 8 times. Cruise sprinted across the wing and hung onto panels that were designed for paratroopers. He didn't wear much protective gear so it would look real. Cruise shot a plane crash in zero gravity for The Mummies in 2017. He flew in a special jet that went up to 25,000 feet and then plummeted to make him feel weightless. There wasn't much CGI in the movie, most of it was filmed in real life. Cruise and the crew had to fly several times, and each time they only had a few minutes of zero gravity to get it perfect. It was one of the hardest scenes ever shot in the air. In 2018, while filming Mission Impossible: Fallout, Cruise fractured his ankle diving across rooftops in London. He continued the scene anyway. You can even see that he is limping. Filming stopped for 6 months so he could heal, but when he came back, he did even more stunts. They filmed moments during the break so he could sit down and rest his ankle. His hard work made a real injury a part of the plot. In the end, Top Gun: Maverick became Cruise's biggest hit ever in 2022. After a lot of training, he piloted genuine F-18 fighter jets. He put all the young performers through the same process. They employed special IMAX cameras in the cockpits. Cruise turned down all streaming offers throughout the pandemic because he wanted to see the movie in cinemas. It took 3 years longer than planned, yet it made around $1.5 billion and was the second highest grossing movie of 2022. It showed that Tom Cruise was still eager to tackle the hard things for genuine after all these years. In 1987, when Tom Cruise married Mimi Rogers, he was only 24. She was a Scientologist and an actress at the time. Tom learned about the religion that will shape practically everything in his life through her. At first, their relationship seemed strong, but things weren't going well behind closed doors. People said that Tom couldn't have kids. In an interview with Playboy in 1993, Mimi joked about it and said that he was thinking about becoming a monk. People were left wondering what that meant. In 1990, they broke up. Mimi subsequently suggested it was because Tom was too focused on work. His life was all about 2 things: work first. He was too obsessed to slow down, and it drove them apart. She also said that his growing interest in Scientology made it harder for them to be together. Tom met Nicole Kidman right after that while they were filming Days of Thunder. In 1990, they got married. Everyone thought they were the perfect marriage, but they were harboring suffering that no one else could see. Nicole lost her first baby when she was 23. The baby was growing in the wrong place inside her, which is what an ectopic pregnancy is. She later noted that the pain of that loss was something that people don't talk about enough. They then adopted 2 kids, Isabella and Connor. Nicole experienced a second miscarriage in March 2001, just after Tom filed for divorce. She was pregnant for 3 months. There was a public split going on at the same time as a private heartbreak. The death, the divorce, and the lack of talking about it all made it worse. Tom started dating Penelope Cruz after they broke up. She was his co-star in Vanilla Sky and they were together for 3 years. She even started learning about Scientology to be closer to him. But it didn't work. Penelope was a Buddhist and didn't want to leave it behind. David Miscavige and other Scientology officials didn't like her. A former member claimed simply loving Tom isn't enough, you also have to follow the church's rules. After they broke up in 2004, there were allegations that Scientology was holding auditions to find Tom a new wife. The church said no. But people kept thinking about the notion. Katie Holmes came next. Tom hopped on Oprah's couch in 2005 and yelled that he loved her. It was crazy, but it was also romantic. In 2006, the same year their daughter Suri was born, they got married in an Italian castle. Katie used to declare that getting married to Tom was her dream come true. She said he was the man of her dreams. But by 2012, the dream had turned into a nightmare. Katie asked for full custody of Suri when she filed for divorce. Tom was very surprised. He didn't expect it. They worked things out fast and quietly. Katie wanted to keep Suri away from Scientology. That was the line that neither side could cross. They promised to respect each other's ideas, but it was too late. People haven't seen Tom with Suri since then. The last time they were seen in public was at Disneyland in 2012. She was just 6 years old, more than 10 years ago. She graduated from high school in 2024, but Tom wasn't there. People saw him having fun at a Taylor Swift performance in London that same day. People couldn't believe it. People who used to be Scientologists said this was because of the church's stance against connecting with people. You stop talking to someone if they leave the religion. Katie kept Suri safe from the church, and Tom put his ideals ahead of being a father. Suri is now 18 and can make her own choices. But it looks like their friendship is fractured after all these years. In 2005, Tom also made headlines when he said that Brooke Shields shouldn't have taken antidepressants after having a baby. He argued there was no such thing as a chemical imbalance and told her it was her fault for taking medicine. He told individuals to just work out and take vitamins. Brooke wrote a strong piece in the New York Times in response. She told him to stick to fighting aliens and leave mental health to the experts. She made it plain that he didn't know what it was like to have postpartum depression. Tom said he was sorry later, but Brooke said it wasn't a very good one. That was all he could do. Mimi Rogers introduced Tom to Scientology in 1986, and that's when he really got into it. He didn't tell anyone at first. But in 1990, after the press got hold of it, he told Barbara Walters everything in an interview in 1992. He remarked that the religion helped him get over his dyslexia. He became one of Scientology's most famous members over time. He and David Miscavige became friends, who had been a part of his life since the late 1980s. Tom pulled away for a moment when he heard that the church would tell him secrets about an alien monarch named Xenu. In 1999, when he was filming Eyes Wide Shut, Marty Rathbun was assigned to bring him back into the fold. Then, in 2008, a video of Tom talking about Scientology in ways that surprised even his fans got out online. He added that Scientologists were the only ones who could help at a vehicle accident and that they were the only actual specialists on the mind. The church tried to get rid of the footage, but it circulated swiftly and millions of people saw it. The way he spoke was weird and intense. A lot of people claimed it didn't seem like the real Tom anymore. The HBO documentary Going Clear from 2015 made things considerably worse. former high-ranking members of Scientology spoke out. They reported that the church helped Tom meet ladies to date. One person indicated that Nicole Kidman had been wiretapped because she was thought to be a troublemaker. Someone else said that the church was practicing white slavery when it came to helping Tom find a partner. They also stated that Kidman kept Tom away from Scientology for years, which prompted the church spy on him through one of his own workers. These stories made things look pretty bad. Things got much more intimate in 2001. When an adult film star who was a man said he had an affair with Tom and that this led to Tom's divorce from Nicole. Tom took him to court for $100 million. Tom got a $10 million judgment because the man admitted he had lied. Tom had to deal with false allegations about his sexuality before. He had already sued a publisher over a similar story and won that case as well. At about the same time, a former church leader said something that made many upset. From July to November 2001, Tom's confidential admissions during auditing sessions were secretly filmed. The church said it was to assess the quality of the sessions, but every word went straight to David Miscavige. They didn't get too engaged again until Tom's divorce from Nicole was official. There was undercover monitoring of what should have been private therapy. That betrayal made people even more worried about how the church treated its most famous members. Mitch Brisker, another former Scientology executive, made news in late 2023. Declared that Tom Cruise was the church's most important victim. He said that Miscavige was in charge of everything, even the soap on their cruise ship. Brisker told Tom he wasn't free. He was in charge of everything. Leah Remini, who left in 2013, said that anyone who spoke out against Tom and the church was punished severely. Others agreed with her. The church, on the other hand, stated that all of these people were lying. In February 2025, supporters started to worry about something else. People noted that Tom's face seemed enlarged and stretched in a Super Bowl ad. A trailer for Mission Impossible that came out just 10 minutes before showed him looking normal. The plastic surgeon said that it seemed like too many fillers had distorted the curve of his face. His jawline, which used to be crisp, was now soft. The doctor noted that this kind of puffiness and stretched skin is frequently caused by too much filler being injected. Tom talked about how hard he was pushing his body for the mission by May 2025. Stunts that can't be done. He told People magazine that he ate bacon, sausage, toast, and coffee with roughly a dozen eggs every morning, just to keep his body going. He added that flying on top of a biplane at 120 miles per hour burns a lot of calories. It was 3 times as quick as the first planes that could walk on wings. He needed protein and energy just to keep alive up there. British broadcaster Jonathan Ross stated something terrible in July 2025. He said Tom's face looked like Play-Doh on his show. He claimed that Tom used to be naturally good-looking, but now he seems artificial. He didn't say he was ugly, he just claimed he didn't look like himself anymore. Fans agreed, and the internet went crazy with comments. Tom finally talked about it in August. He revealed during an interview that the crazy plane stunts almost ruined his spine. He had to hang from a seatbelt while the plane flipped upside down in one scene. The pressure made the joints in his fingers come apart. His hands were fat. The suffering was real. Tom's director said that he had been through a lot. They even had to shoot several scenes again in Africa due to the weather. Some of the changes in his looks may be due to the injuries and edema, but for many supporters, it was too late. His face didn't look like the Tom they remembered anymore.